My name is Charity McDaniel, and today I'm going to talk about instructional strategies. So some of the strategies that I discussed in this were teacher-centered direct instruction, student-centered concept and attainment, student-centered inquiry, student-centered cooperative learning, and then I did additional ones that I will discuss in a little bit. So the findings that I found for teacher-centered direct instruction were that it's directed by teachers. So it's mostly like lectures, looking through books with your class, PowerPoints, things like that. Student-centered concept attainment is student-centered, and it allows students to compare and contrast things that they have found about a topic. They can do vocabulary games, group activities, things like that. Student-centered inquiry. It allows kids to ask questions. It's student-centered as well. They can ask questions to their peers or to their teacher. They can do group work, and it really allows them to do hands-on things. So like field trips, science experiments, things like that. Student-centered cooperative learning is also student-centered, and they work together in groups, collaborate, things like that, do presentations as a whole group. So it really allows kids to get into the thing that they're learning about, which is very nice. And then I did some additional instructional strategies. I did differentiated strategy. This strategy educates children by differentiating their learning styles. So one learning style might not work for another child. So the teacher really starts modeling information, does projects, interviews their students to know where they are, does learning stations, all that kind of stuff, and kind of observes where their students are so they can help them learn better. And then peer strategy. Peer strategy allows students to answer teacher questions to see where they are. So it's kind of like differentiated, except for they answer questions through like surveys and things like that. So examples of that are like group presentations, surveys, learning material at home, and then coming back to school and discussing what you learned. So I went more in depth about my aligning instructional strategy that I did last week. And I chose teacher-centered, student-centered cooperative learning, and concept attainment, because we're going to learn about how you can write whole numbers all the way up to 1,000,000. So teacher-centered, the teacher explains how they do things using a whiteboard. Student-centered, cooperative learning, they discuss what they've learned with their peers, and they get information from their peers, and they share information. And then concept attainment, they share with their peers and their teacher how they compare and contrast different numbers to write. So instructional strategies relate to other learning theories because it allows children to get more in depth with their learning. So it helps reduce some behaviors, and it increases their knowledge it helps increase their knowledge. So an example of that would be if a student is learning how to write numbers up to 1,000,000, they're getting that in their brain, and that helps them to learn the concepts, which will help them to feel more confident in what they're learning. Another example is if a child has a hard time reading, they can read in groups, they can read with their teacher one-on-one, and they'll get those reading skills that they need, and they'll feel more confident. So there might be less behaviors if that child struggles with behaviors at school. So instructional strategies that I want to incorporate in my future professional practice is definitely teacher-centered. I love doing lectures. I like the whole group class, teaching them all as one. But I also like student-centered in strategies like collaborative and concept attainment, because it really allows the kids to interact and learn from their peers and show their peers what they've learned. So it helps them learn to socialize better. It helps with social skills, emotional skills, behavior skills. So yeah, those are what I chose for this project, and I hope you have a blessed day.